Hi, welcome to this video about DevOps. So this video, we're going to talk about the basics on DevOps, why DevOps is important, and the tools on the DevOps environment. This is specially catered for business leaders to understand the DevOps concepts. There's a lot of videos on DevOps right now around YouTube, but this is specially catered for the business leaders to go through and understand on DevOps. So let's get started. So let's look at the software world before DevOps, right? As you know, there'll be developers that will be developing and building the code. Let's say you're building a website, a mobile application, anything. So developers will be there that we basically use the JIT, which is the source code control, where they store all the code on JIT. So we take it as example as JIT as well. So developers develop, build and release packages for the testing and the production side. So when they do these releases, they will create guides how to install this application, what are the dependencies around this application, and how to successfully deploy this application as well. So after they verify this on the development environment, we call it as dev build environment, they will release this package, which nowadays it's on the containers, but previously it can be a jar. They'll package it around all the development code around it. So now we are moving towards the container world, especially which will package all the dependencies and all the components together, right? So let's look at after that what happens. So when developer release the development package, test engineer will take that package and go through the guide and understand what are the dependencies and installation of the software application that is packaged, that is delivered to them. So this is very simply delivered from the JIT to their JIT repository, where they can pull and start building. So all these are manually driven, where they can install third-party packages like Java, Python, MySQL all together on their test environment, right? That they will manually install application to this environment, and they will conduct the testing. So in case if there's any issues, they will go back and reject the release, or they will again issue bugs where the developers will come again, do the same cycle and release, where they have to verify that. So if all are successful, they will release this package to the implementation team, which is the operations team, which handles to operations engineers. This is where specially they will also give instructions what version to be installed. Example, Java version, Python version, and MySQL database version out there, which to be installed as an environment, right? What are the dependencies? What are the steps, guides, which to be installed first, and then dependencies to the implementation operations engineer, where they will start working on it and set up the production environment and do the dependency verification, version controlling, and testing verification on that, even in the production in a pre-test way. Then in case if there's any issues on there, they will again reject the release, or send it back to the test engineer to verify and to get a proper tested version. Then it'll go back to the developer in case. So there's a lot of manual intervention happen, and finally it'll be handled by the operations team, where they monitor and support as well. So this is basically before the DevOps, how they manually work, how the developers release the package, how the test engineers test it on the test environment, and implementation engineers work and do the production deployment. So these are all manual processes. The guides should be properly written by the developer, test engineer, to properly do the deployment on the production. And if something goes wrong, again, it can be a lot of manual interventions coming, and continuously it has to be done. So this is not only when they release a new version or new deployment, there can be upgrades to the platform, which developer then manually, the test engineer will deploy on the test environment, and then again production environment, like that. So this is a back and forth process going on. So the industry has seen largely a delay happening on this process, where the software release process, where it takes time to deploy a smaller feature or smaller version to the production. And there's a lot of human errors are happening as well. So let's look at the key challenges around this. So number one challenge in here is basically it consumes more time with manual intervention, right? As you have seen earlier, package installation, version management, and all takes a lot of time, days, sometimes weeks to be done. And then there probably sometimes there are manual processes involved where it will waste of times of test engineers to get the approval, wait for approval and do it. And then waste for developers to write the guides and doing that. So a lot of manual work takes a lot of time. Number two is human errors, which takes a lot of time plus the cost due to issues creating the guides, because these developers are writing, they sometimes get tired of the development, and the guides sometimes not properly written, sometimes they are missing on the guides. Then the test engineer again will start to communicate, they will start to communicate on different channels, and again the miscommunication happens. So what we have seen here is, while the team working on the software release packages, more time, around sometimes 60% of the time spent on issue resolution, we're working on the guides, upgrading the guides and managing them. So this manual guiding, working on it takes a lot of time and waste of time on that, right? And again, there can be version management of third parties. They do the repetitive work. Test engineer will install Java version, same version. Sometimes the implementation team has to get from another package and do it again. So this takes a lot of time for them to work it out. Number three, waste of time due to conflict within the teams. What you see here is development, where development wants to release quickly the features, where testing team or implementation operation teams want to make it very stable on the system. So there's in conflict of interest on the same software process, right? The developer want to faster release it, but software and what you call test engineers and implementation engineers want to make it stable, reject it. Again, miscommunication happens, and there are two of the mindsets are different. So to work as a team, there should be a one mindset and one process. So as a solution for these three key challenges, this DevOps, which is comes with the word dev and operations ops together to work as a collaborative process, automated process to come to play to make a faster software development release. So basically what happens is it will remove all the manual processes where the test engineer or operation engineer to work, and the full process is being automated. How it's been automated? So let's do the number one working now. It builds upon the continuous integration and continuous delivery CI/CD pipeline, which we call it as a basic pipeline where some developers will trigger the example, it can commit the code on the Git repository, where we can push the code where it will be ready to deploy. When it triggers, it automatically get all the packages, all the dependencies, all the key areas to be done, and automatically install on the testing environment. And again, when you can define the triggering process. After the triggering process, again, it will be automatically, after the test verifications and all, it will be deployed on the production environment, which it will be avoided all the manual processes. And similar way, it will be automated in case if there's any issues, it will again rejected. There can be build errors coming in where developers can go and do the development fixes again. So this there are different tools out there that can be used here. So Git is source code management, control management here, where it has the Git repository is managed from the developers. There are other, source control management tools out there, but mostly widely used is Git. Then the key part of the DevOps, the CI/CD pipeline, is where this tool, the pipeline is built. So there are different tools that can use like Jenkins, GitLab, CI, or GitHub Actions, where the base of the CI/CD pipeline is built upon these technologies. So if you are a DevOps engineer, in case you're looking at this video, you need to master this Jenkins, GitLab, CI, or GitHub Actions on that, right? Then the other management is now, as I mentioned, the industry is moving towards faster on the containerization. So Docker, Podman are, tools that use for creating container images, building containers, and the Kubernetes is the container orchestration platform that is being deploy and manage overall test lifecycle. So we'll go in deep and understanding on the next couple of videos, what is Docker, what is Podman and all. Then after they do the, the containerization use in the chip pipeline, that the automation tool that is used is Ansible, where you can install and configure applications on using Ansible playbooks to be run on the test environment. So there are scenarios that CI/CD pipeline is built on Ansible as well. And then Terraform is mostly used to, provision and configure the infrastructure. So while you do all these processes, then Prometheus and Grafana is used to monitor. So these are the key tools on the pipeline, how the full process is being automated other than development or, especially the test engineer or implementation engineer start working on it. So let's look at the summarize of the DevOps overall life cycle. I know this, icon is very familiar for you. So I'll walk you through the tools out there. So when the developer release a package, there's a process on the Git repository where it's a source control management platform where let's say it's a Java application, it needs to be packaged. So we use build tool like Maven to be built on top of the code and package it together to be ready to be production, running on the production. While these build using Maven, after that it can be tested automatically using JUnit or Selenium. These are some testing tools out there, but basically based on the environment, what you use, you can use different testing tools out there, which is automatically done. Then this is also triggered through the release process we call using the pipeline, Jenkins or GitLab CI, that being fully managed end-to-end pipeline, where it's a YAML file where they write all very simple code structure scripting. So DevOps engineer has to write this to from the development triggering point. Example, when it's committed to the JIT, or when the pull request comes from the JIT, it'll be pushed to the what you call test servers. This all process should be run and right in the pipeline. So that's DevOps engineers role out there. Then deployment, as I mentioned to you, it can be on Docker, Podman, image building part of it, and deploy using Kubernetes structure on the cloud AWS. It can be Google Cloud Platform or other cloud environments out there. Then it'll be operate through, you can manage all configurations, running it around using Terraform and Ansible across the operations, and then the monitoring part will happen Prometheus Grafana. And if something issue occur on there, then again planning code full life cycle goes on. So basically what happens on the DevOps is before there's always manual intervention with the test engineer, implementation engineer, doing all manual work, dependency management takes a lot of time back and forth, where DevOps comes in with all automation, set of tools to manage, fully automate the development, software release life cycle, which is much more easier, as well as save a lot of time, around 80% on most cases on the software development process. So I believe you have understood clearly what is before DevOps and after DevOps, what are the key tools out there, and what is the key role as a DevOps engineer out there is doing as a business leader. So looking forward to hear your thoughts. If you have anything, please comment and send me a message. I'm looking forward to clarify and discuss with you in detail as a business leader how you understand DevOps and how you can position DevOps to your clients. Thank you.